Thank you so much, Chair Jennings and Ranking Member Katko and all of our panelists. With the rise in extreme weather events, it's worth noting that according to FEMA, roughly 40% of small businesses hit by natural disasters never reopen. And I've certainly seen this within our state of Iowa. Further, 90% of smaller companies fail within a year unless they can resume operations within 5 days. This is obviously devastating to the livelihoods of so many of my constituents, many of whom are small business owners and are facing severe catastrophic threats all year round, from flooding to tornadoes and to the derecho that we had last year. We know that increased pre-disaster mitigation activities and strong modern construction standards are the best line of defense in the face of catastrophes and will ultimately save taxpayer dollars while protecting lives. On that note, Ms. Williams, can you talk about the importance of Congress working to create incentives that encourage business owners, homeowners, and communities to build more resiliently?
Thank you, ma'am. I think the first question that these companies and businesses need to answer is, what are the risks that I face? The lack of knowledge of risk across this country is tremendous. You can't attack a risk that you aren't aware of. So I think that is the first line of defense, is coming together as a community to identify risks and hazards as a system, not as an individual structure or an individual piece of infrastructure, but systemically. And that's how we build community resilience. Insurance is a key aspect of this. Individuals and businesses are not aware of the lack of coverage that they are facing in the wake of a disaster. And the federal government is not going to provide the resources to make them whole. So we spend a tremendous amount of time trying to educate people on how to cover their risks in a very meaningful way. But as you noted, the most important thing that people can do is identify that risk, draw down that risk through investments in pre-disaster mitigation, and we'll change the trajectory of the risk profile across this country.
Thank you. And as I stated, as someone who represents a Midwestern state that runs along the Mississippi River, my district does not border the Missouri, but I also have the Missouri. We had flooding there last year, and then we had the derecho this past year. I have a deep understanding of the massive loss caused by flooding and other natural disasters. Because of this, I also know of the endless cycle of destruction, where homes are built over and over again in the same subpar standards that often help lead to their destruction, and it put communities' lives and taxpayer dollars at risk. Ms. Williams, again, can you talk about the power of strong construction in the face of catastrophes, how you and the insurance industry help to mitigate that risk and identify that risk, and any examples you have based on research performed by the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, which you mentioned in your testimony, where the use of more modern building standards are proven to help homes withstand extreme climate events? What policies can we be working to create in Congress that will better shield communities like mine in Iowa from severe disasters?
Thank you again. We have some very exciting things happening across this country as states are leading the way in helping individual homeowners invest in strengthening their home. And I know Mr. Brown probably has some comments on this too, as he's been keenly focused on underserved communities and how we can help strengthen their home. If COVID taught us anything, it's the importance of housing as infrastructure. So our friends at IBHF have done a tremendous job, not only identifying those retrofits of the existing housing stock that need investments for roof tie downs, for cripple wall stabilization, and for wildfire mitigation techniques that can significantly impact the risk posed to a homeowner. And we are working with states across the country to help put resources in the hands of homeowners to draw down their risk and invest in their homes. So I think Congress helping certainly remove, as Ms. Hill said, the moral hazard of not doing the right thing and not investing in your homes, I think is one of the most important things that congressional leaders can do. And as I mentioned in my testimony, tax incentives can also play a tremendous role for those that have the resources to be able to invest, to just get them over the hump, to do the right thing before a disaster and not when we're worried about recovering from catastrophe.
Thank you. And then I just wanted to make a mention to Mr. Nye or Dr. Nye. Thank you so much. And we found during the pandemic that there are regulations we no longer need. So as important as regulation is and safety, it's also important to realize when regulation is not needed. And I appreciate your comments on fusion and nuclear power as also an upcoming power source. So thank you.